Josh from the US. Stalling until the PowerPoint comes up. Before we start, I'll just give a quick second shout out to the Grand Challenges Scholars Program for Andrea, because that's the key connection that brought me here today. So just a little quick explanation. I did my undergraduate in my bachelor's in chemical engineering at the University of Southern California in the US. And I joined the Grand Challenges Scholars Program through that university and met Andrea at the conference, and that brought me here. So I want to talk a little bit quickly about what the approach means. Andrea mentioned it very briefly, but there's a sense as an engineer in the Grand Challenges Scholars Program that you're supposed to take a deeper approach to change, an integrated approach to change, where you're not just thinking about technology, you're not just thinking about surface level problems, but you're trying to go deeper and understand what are the underlying mechanisms behind the problems that we see in the world. So that's summarized briefly in the saying, look, notice, and ask why. So I'm going to be talking about that process and how I've implemented that through my last two trips here in Nepal, last summer and this summer, and then talk about where that's brought me and where I'd like to go forward with that. And in collaboration with University, which is where I'm currently studying, Sapienza, Kathmandu, and also the people and culture and religion and the country of Nepal. So, please, next slide. The Kathmandu River in Kathmandu has been used as an informal dump site for over 20 years. You can see on the right here as well, the Sistal landfill currently and continuously receives 1,200 tons of unsegregated garbage per day from different localities of the Kathmandu Valley. These aren't just problems on paper, these really affect the lives of the people living here. Nearby locals have to endure excessive odor, they're confronted with frequent illnesses like dysentery, diarrhea, and cancer, all caused by the contamination from accumulated waste. And of course, it's not just humans that are affected, it's also our planet. And the Kathmandu River, 30 years ago, people drank from it, they swam from it. Today, it is considered biologically dead, according to the Global Atlas of Environmental Justice. Next slide, please. The issues are not just environmental in this country, we also have pretty large issues with government corruption and young people leaving this country. We can see in this quote here, a massive increase in corruption continues to threaten the country's overall development, including jobs, infrastructure, health, human development, and quality of life for every citizen and overall governance. Employment opportunities are less available in the absence of foreign investments and new industries. Lest we forget, some 75,000 to 80,000 people leave the country every month seeking employment abroad. So if we want to solve these issues, I know another great speaker today mentioned it, we need people here in this country, coming from this country, who understand the culture, who understand the problems. We need them to make this country as beautiful as it can be. Next slide, please. Over 50% of Nepalese students in the academic year of 2024 did not pass their qualifying examinations. The education system is supposed to play a crucial role as a secondary agent of socialization, bridging the gap between family unit and broader society while shaping the cognitive, emotional, and social development of children and adolescents. However, the current Nepali education system is failing to do so. This problem cannot be overstated. If we're going to inspire and educate and empower a new generation of Nepali citizens to tackle these challenges, that has to start at the youth education level, and right now that foundation is eroded. This is not. This is a problem that we cannot go unsolved. Next slide, please. So I've been here for the last 2 years, and I've witnessed a lot of these problems, and I've tried to wrap my head around what forces are at play here. I've noticed, and I've tried to ask why, so that maybe I could help in some way. And I have come up with a theory that right now we are dealing with a bit of a perfect storm here in this country. We have one dynamic that is affecting the entire world, and that is the globalization of broken Western paradigms. So this is the idea that development must equal environmental destruction, that economic prosperity must equal mindless consumption, and that as an advanced society, we naturally would replace deep connection, respect, spirituality, and responsibility with profitable and apathetic lifestyles. And that is, unfortunately, what we're seeing in the last 20 years with a lot of the development that has happened in Nepal. And that is compounded by a whole other context of a history of instability and inequality in Nepal. I've learned from some conversations from our nice guides, Pemba and Ratna, about what is the history behind this country. Because where I come from, the indigenous cultures, the indigenous societies in the northeastern US, before Western influence arrived, they honestly had it quite good. They did not have iPhones, they didn't have showers with super hot water, they didn't have convenient lifestyles to the standards that we would say today, but they had very deep, strong connections with their natural world. They had principles with how to live their life, including being mindful of the resources that you're using, understanding the imperative importance of every single piece in an ecosystem, seeing the world with adamcy, understanding the value that is in water, the wisdom and knowledge that is in a bird or a tree. And these foundations are taught to their children. They have moments at the beginning of each day to recognize, not just in schools, but even in decision-making sessions with community leaders. These principles and beliefs are woven into their entire culture. But for some reason, we don't see that as much in Nepal. We see that a lot of the culture has been eroded in the last 20 years by these Western paradigms, and I believe that that is also due to another pre-context of this deeply embedded caste system that has had many hundreds of years of disempowerment at the hands of certain ethnic groups over others, and imposed economic hardship that has prevented the people of Nepal from being able to develop their own systems and live life in connection with nature as they would naturally if they had an egalitarian and fair society. So that has led today, even since the fall of, or the progression from kings to a democracy, we see rampant government corruption, and we see that these problems are still very much at play. So zooming out, this perfect storm of problems is manifesting everywhere around the world. We have rampant pollution in Texas. We have garbage piling up on the streets of Milan. We have the deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. We have that gross picture of the US with tons and tons of advertisements and gas stations and highways. This is development as we currently understand it in the Western world. This is not good. I don't think anybody wants to live in a world like this. Next slide, please. This is not only not enjoyable for our lives, but this is also leading us to a state of crisis. We are currently breaching almost all of the 9 planetary boundaries. 6 of them have been crossed. These are climate change, these are biodiversity loss, this is the depletion of the ozone, this is eutrophication. These are all of the life support systems that our planet has developed over billions of years that just in the last few hundred we are eroding and destroying and breaching because of all of those root problems that exist that I just mentioned. So we've noticed, we've asked why, we've tried to dig a little bit deeper, and I think we need to keep in mind this very important idea of carbon tunnel vision, because around the world, the response of Western neoliberal capitalist thought is to look at climate change and say, carbon emissions, that's the problem. So we're going to install a bunch of solar panels, we'll build some EVs, we'll electrify Nepal, and we're good. But unfortunately, that's not how it works, because all of these other issues are deeply connected to those root problems, and if we're not going to address those root problems, we will be facing societal collapse by the end of this century. Every single climate scientist has confirmed and agreed that we have, if anything, been underly pessimistic of how bad things can get if we do not solve the root problems behind these issues. Please, next slide. So, we need a fresh approach. We have to fix our faulty thinking. We have to address our underlying problems, or we will all face societal collapse within the century. This is not just a Nepal problem, this is a global problem. Unfortunately, that message has not been heard by the world, and we've seen it played out very visibly in Nepal over the last 20 to 30 years. 55.61 billion Nepalese rupees were spent on liquefied petroleum gas imports in the last fiscal year, and now politicians are lobbying for a multi-million cross-border gas pipeline without any proper analysis of where the energy system is heading or where it should go. You walk through the streets of Besi Sahar in Kathmandu, and you see endless shops filled with cheap consumers' products. I took notice as I was walking. There were very few, like we talk about development, I would love to see emergency care clinics, I would love to see art and cultural centers, but all you're seeing is shops with shoes and jewelry and clothing. This isn't useful for the people there, they're only there for tourists. This is the result of not fixing those root problems behind development. You look at, I was talking with Pemba, he was telling me about how the government receives lots of money from foreign aid. And what they do is they go into villages and they build these Western-style concrete housing with Western building practices that completely disregards the long-standing building practices that exist in these villages. And they put people up in these concrete housings like animals. They don't teach them how to properly use technology, so you have explosions and deaths with gas and electricity. There's no sense of an actual genuine attempt to care for the people and show them the solutions that they need that are not only good for the environment, but also good for the people. So if we're really going to talk about development, I think we need to start getting a little bit more serious. It really does not have to be this way. And not only can Nepal do this better, but I actually believe that Nepal can be a global leader because they have some of those cultural fabrics in their country, in their history, that we need as a Western society, that we all need to embrace and fix. We visited this micro-hydro plant, and if you see next to the control panel, you actually have a shrine to one of the Buddhist gods with prayer flags and deep meaning and respect for the power that comes from the water. And it's you might just visit that plant and not thinking anything about it, but that is a very meaningful thing. That shows that the people of Nepal, these communities that are building these power generation sources, they understand the implication behind renewable energy, behind accessing energy from natural, elegant flows that exist in nature instead of extracting it from the ground. And they have that understanding of what that can mean in life. We got some nice lessons of the Wheel of Life from Ratna in the Buddhist monastery. And woven into the ideology and religion of this country is the understanding that we all possess vices of greed and ignorance and pride. And it's not an inherently bad thing, but these things are glorified in the Western world. And in this culture, they understand that it's something that you need to be aware of and work against, or else you're going to not have a good outcome in life. So they have these spiritual, deep understandings, and they have the kids. They have people like Shamsar Thapa and Tilak Lama who are leading the most amazing projects and initiatives to do the right things for the people. They understand that this is a difficult fight and it's not going to be easy and it's going to be slow, but they have the right intentions at heart and they're doing the right things. And we've had the pleasure of visiting some of these schools, and we ran a very beautiful activity collecting trash with these kids. And before I set that up, I was a little bit nervous. Like I didn't know if these kids would care about that, what they would think. Maybe they would not be super engaged. They were so excited to pick up that garbage. It was like the most exciting thing that they've ever done. And that is such an important lesson. Like, this is not human nature to walk by garbage and not think anything about it and not understand how wrong it is. And if we utilize the resource that is young people that still have that in their head, that this connection with nature is important, we can change. We can change a lot. So, next slide, please. So, how do we solve this? There's a lot of big problems, but I think we can follow a few important principles, and this actually connects quite nicely with the presentation we had before with the water energy nexus. But one of them is many drops form a river. every single action has an impact on the world that you couldn't even imagine. And if you ever think that it's pointless to do even something small to change the world, that's an unfortunately and tragically wrong belief. So we need to believe and understand that every little bit counts. And we have to think big, we start small, and act now. So, next slide, please. So what do? We can raise awareness with the children. As you were saying, the kids and the schools, this is where these mindset shifts and these educational campaigns can happen, because the kids they still get it, they still understand. So we start with the children, we disseminate this movement to the families and communities, we raise the social pressure on the government so that people are no longer blindly being manipulated and moved one way or another by a corrupt government, and slowly we raise a movement that's unstoppable, and we support the people on the ground doing the work, like the Shamsar Tapas, the Tilak Lamas, and like the initiative that you have started in many of these communities. And eventually we can create a reproducible model to address both local and global problems through educational climate action havens. So we're thinking big, we're starting small. It doesn't have to start with changing the world, it just starts with changing how you think. Understand the deeper implications behind our technology changes. When we embrace biomass energy like biogas and improved wood cooking stoves, or microhydro, or solar, or the circular economy, these cannot just be buzzwords. If these just become meaningless buzzwords, we have failed. They have deep meanings behind them. They are all mimicking the principles and harmless flows of energy and materials in nature. And that's not just relevant for our systems and our technologies, but they're also relevant for our individual actions and views on the world, and in every moment, the decisions that we make, the resources that we use, how we consume, how we live our lives, and how we use energy, and how a society develops with a meaningful and fair use of energy. Because right now, Nepal has resort hotels. At the same time, they have hospitals that people are dying in the hundreds. That is so wrong. Like, if you don't come to this country and notice that and feel how wrong that is, you should. And it's none of our faults, but that is the case because this approach has not been taken. So you notice these things, you start thinking about it, you pick up garbage when you see it. You signal to other people that this path is not okay and that we can change. And you act now. So this is the project that I'm trying to develop in Nepal in partnership with the Biogas Sector Partnership, which is an NGO with Shamsar and his school communities and also a few other contacts. But it's this climate smart integrated school support program. And it's very much along the lines of exactly what you were saying. The goal for this project is to implement and track biogas production at different schools at various elevations with various feeding strategies, whether it's some combination of dung, toilet waste, agricultural residue, any creative uses of biological feedstock that you can find, and to track that, see how much biogas has been produced, and to create informative data that can then support further biogas installations around Nepal and also beyond, because this also applies so well in other agricultural-based societies in India, Africa, and the rest of the developing world. We also want to explore how cattle integration can provide value and make the system self-sustaining. So right now we're using a $2,000 grant to set up a cattle system at the New Marigold School. So they already have the biogas. We are now buying a buffalo. We're buying some land for it to graze, and we're going to create a system restoration plan that can use the cattle management, the fertilizer production from the biogas, and also an ecosystem restoration plan that is informed from experts so that we can create a more integrated, holistic system where the cows produce the milk, they can improve the agricultural productivity, and create an economically self-sustaining system for the school. We also want to explore how educational lessons can use these activities to further develop passion in these kids for climate action and foster a stronger awareness of issues that need to be addressed in Nepal and around the world. So through trash pickup campaigns, through understanding what it means to have a sacred relationship with food and growing food and working with animals. Like, these are not just mindless activities, they signal deeper shifts in how we think and how we act, and we can raise a generation of students in Nepal who are capable of changing this country. And further steps as well include adding electric cooking to supplement the biogas and eliminate the LPG reliance, as well as rainwater harvesting and reusable bottles and other solutions to show students what it means to effectively embrace these natural flows with respect, to reduce consumption and resource strain, and help solve global challenges. Thank you. This model is not just for Nepal, it's for the world. Let's use our combined networks and resources to work together and make it happen.
Very good. So, now we have someone from Kathmandu University.